Episode 6. I wanted to bring this up because when this show was coming out, people were noticing some Sentai nods and references to old shows. Because for this one, this episode's a filler episode, but the actor for Mammoth Ranger from Zoo Ranger guest stars as Sayo's old Aikido teacher. Weird. And I swear he plays a different character and everything. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just really interesting to know when you realize and are watching the episode. Weirdly enough, this show has some Sentai references in it. And I find that strange because, well, right after Kirameiger is Super Sentai's 45th anniversary. So it's rather different that the 46th, well, not 46th, the 44th is doing, well, certain things like that. And so, in episodes 7 and 8, more or less episode 8 introduces a new Mashin modeled after a train, Mashin Express. This one was a failsafe gift from King O'Radin and has the ability to temporarily gain control over Smog Joki, because Garza's train was originally the royal family's, but he stole it. So, let's talk about King Express. Personally, I don't think it's terrible. I think my issue with it is that the colors just don't go together. Because black and purple with white, red, and blue, I don't know, I just don't think they work. And for a little bit every time after a fight is over with King Express, Garza uses his growing Gemental to break up the combination, and eventually he just shuts it down from happening, period. And so, episode 12, it introduces a new kind of monsters that are similar to, but aren't like the Kiramei stones. They're called Monstones, artificial sentient stones that rather lack the intelligence of Kiramei stones. Like, they show to be very powerful, and they are able to obstruct Kiramental from being blocked and possess Jamenshi's bodies, making them all the more stronger. Gladly, this episode also debuts our 6th Ranger, Kiramei Silver. So now let's talk about that suit, because dear Lord in Christ, I don't like it. I do not like Kiramei Silver's suit. I don't like it. Just the sash is too flashy. The shoulder pads, it's just all the colors just don't go well together. And I know, like, when this suit came out, and I know what everyone's probably thinking or not, but the color scheme on here is like orange and silver, and Boken Silver, like from Bokenger, was both orange and silver. But here's the thing there. With Boken Silver, his color scheme was silver, orange, black, and a metallic blue, and it all worked. For Kiramei Silver, his color scheme is silver, orange, and a very icy blue, which doesn't kind of go together. And like I said, the sash that he has on, it's too metallic, and sometimes in certain shots it fades out. And the helmet itself is weird. Like, I can't tell if he has actual hairs on his head along with the goggles. Though I don't care about the goggles. I just care, like, he has hairs on his head. Like, I get the motif he's supposed to go for, an excavationer, but I just don't like the suit. I don't like the morpher either. It just looks weirdly bulky and clunk. It looks like a token and a globe melted together. And his weapon. Oh, now let's talk about his weapon. It's a jackhammer. A flippin' jackhammer. Do you know how bulky and unwieldy a jackhammer is? Yet he tosses it, swings it around. That is how he fights with it. God, I don't like the suit or his gear. And so, Kiramei Silver is Takemichi Crystalia. He's Mabushina's adopted brother from Earth, and he's also Hakata Minami's biological older brother. He's actually the reason for Crystalia's connection with Earth. About 30 years ago, King Oradin was researching possible Kiramei stones on other planets. He came to Earth and met Takemichi and Hakata Minami's dad. Takemichi was with them excavating and found a Monstone that jumped into his body, and the only way to save him was for Oradin to take him back to Crystalia and insert the silver Kiramei stone into his body to nullify the Monstone. Hence why Takemichi looks like he hasn't aged a day. Episode 13, by the way, is where we get this backstory, and Kiramei Silver's mech, Jidaijin, I think it looks good. I like all the drills. And in episode 17, Jidaijin is finally able to become Gigant Driller once Takemichi combines with Jidaijin after turning into the silver Kiramei Stone himself. Now, for the mech, Gigant Driller, it's a chubby boy. I like all the drills, but wow, it's all bulk. It's literally all bulk. It has no neck. It has the chest. It has I don't know, it has no neck. It's all bulk up top. The drill legs and I really don't know what to say about it. I don't think it's awful. If anything, it's alright, in my opinion. I think I like it a little bit because, once again, the drills and the head. And the fact that it's been a long time. Actually, yeah. Now I think about it, this mech is the only other time where a Ranger actually combines with their own Zord to make a combination. Because I think the last one to do that, let me think, was the last one to do that Black Knight from Gingaman? With him and the bull becoming one? I think it was. So, nice. Anywho, also in episode 17, since Takemichi has arrived, Mabushina has been pissed at him for abandoning their home to go treasure hunting. And we finally learned why Takemichi's been treasure hunting. It's because Mabushina is possessed by the Curse of Darkness and has a certain amount of time before it takes over her. So to fix that, Takemichi's been looking for the 4 Kaname stones to they're wish-granting stones that can break the curse. I have, however, an issue with that curse because here's the backstory. The Witch of the Stagnant Sea placed the curse on the king, and in 7 days' time, the person he loved most will turn into sand and die. And that was the Queen of Crystalia. And since then, both the king and the witch have been dead, so the curse still exists. Mabushina should be fine, and Takemichi's reason is really an assumption. She wasn't even there at the event, so even now, how would she not have died? There's a simple explanation for that. So, episode 18, Garza takes advantage of the Monstone inside of Takemichi and casts a spell on him, making him Dark Kiramei Silver, where he's under mind control, and it takes using the first Kaname stone that they found to break the spell. This episode wouldn't have been much for me to mention, but we also have something we'll see later. When Takemichi was under Garza's spell, his changer changed into an evil version of itself called the Yodam Changer, which we'll see again much later, worn by someone else. So, episode 21, they flip and confirm that Mabushina has the curse on her after I just went on a spew. And they haven't found all the Kaname stones yet, so as a backup plan, Miro brings out the Aqua Kiramei Stone. It's a special Kiramei Stone that can repel curses, but sadly, it's been incapacitated for years by being covered in venom. So, the next Kaname Stone, Anyway, the next Kaname stone discovered is one that can time travel through memories. So in episode 22, half of the team go with fire to the past and get a sample of the poison from the witch. They fail to get one, but instead, Judo decides to use the witch's venom that's covered on his sword so that Muto could reverse engineer the venom into an antidote for the Aqua Stone. And once the Aqua Kirame Stone is awake, Judo makes a Mashin out of it. So, let's talk about the next mech, Zabune, because it's a shark train and it looks cool. He can also combine with Mashin Express and they make King Express Zabune. And this is where it actually looks better here because all the colors gel well. So, if I could be honest, this subplot of Mabushina being cursed was pretty weak. It's very loose. It doesn't elaborate on how the curse switched from Mabushina's mom to her. And we don't even get all the stones right away. We instead just get a new mech to basically Deus Ex Machina everything away and problem solved. And so, episode 23, the Queen of Crystalia turns out to still be alive, and it turns out before her body turned to sand, she used a special technique to place her consciousness into the stone on her tiara. Remember that, because that technique gets used a couple other times in this show. So, in that state, after she uses a huge amount of Cure Mental, she falls asleep. I want to say to recharge because she didn't die at all at the end of the episode. We also don't see her again until like the very last episode. Oh, speaking of which, I should mention her because the spin-offs with Yodana later, Kazihara or Kakihara. Anywho, she's the rude girl that Judo drew at the beginning of the show. We don't see a lot of her, but she's there at the very beginning, the middle, and the end where her and Judo are a couple. So, yeah. And now, speaking of which of Yodana, episode 25, this is where the Yodam Changer comes back along with its new wearer, Yodana. She is the private secretary to Emperor Yodam, aka the final boss. And I think what makes her introduction pretty interesting is that she flips the episode on its head, overwhelming the Kirameigers, starting off with Tomitomo, because she has a fascination with humans only so she could torture them. Like, when she got introduced, I liked the show 3 times more because she's there to get the job done. Not that it has been getting done at this point. Like, Garza's just been doing his own thing, and Crunchilla's been, well, just fucking around, if we're being honest. Episode 26, in order to counter the bad guys now, everyone decides to use the next Kaname stone they find to power them up. The only problem is that using its power has the drawback of potentially killing them, but everyone and later Judo decide to take the risk, giving them their Go Cureful power-up forms. And I do not like these power-ups. Why do I not like these power-ups? 1, they all share the one bow and arrow that gives them the armors, as opposed to making 5 of them. No, better, 6 of them, because this team does have a 6 ranger, and 2, the form only lasts for 1 minute and 40 seconds. Yeah, that stone is the reason why, but since it's a power-up, or just power in general, split amongst 5 people, you think that setback could have diminished. Like, they're not even all that powerful now. It's like, it's literally all the bow and arrow, that's powerful, that's stronger. No, it's just while we're at it too, the look of the suits too, it looks like they're all wearing chalkboards. Like, yeah, you have the design of like a phoenix on the chest, but still, it's just so simple. Too simple if we're being honest. Because with how metallic and how sparkly everything is, you come up with this, like, and once again, and like I said, with Kirameiger, Judo could draw to conjure things to life, or even imagine them. Why did he not think of making 5 of them? Copy machines do exist. It's just, I don't know. The suit's it's just ugly, and it's hardly, if not ever, used efficiently because it lasts for only like a minute and 40 seconds. How much damage do you think you can do in like a minute and 40 seconds? Mind you, you can. You can. I study fighting. In a minute and 40 seconds, it's enough time to do some damage, but for Christ's sakes, when you're on a time limit like that, So, episode 27. This makes me feel better. It's the Gekiranger tribute, and it's Niki Niki. Anywho, sent a sponsor for her track career is Scratch, the sports company of the Gekirangers. And I have yet to review Gekirangers so far, so for those of you who, here's a small preview. Senna's coaches are Miki and her daughter Natsumi, and the episode is about Senna trying to break a record, all while the villains try to take down the Kirameigers, starting off with Senna. The episode is actually very clever because when Miki is occupied with the villains, she speaks in John to get across to Senna, while a bomb is strapped to her to tell her to run faster or it'll explode. It's paced out well. It's just beautifully awesome to see something from Gekiranger. It just makes me want to watch Gekiranger straight up. So, episode 28. After fighting the Jimenju that destroyed Crystalia, the first 5 machines lose their sparkle, so to help heal them, Shigeru and Juru go to King Oraden's teacher, Mashin Hakobu, and he hasn't bothered to help out by now because he couldn't accept Oraden's death and move on. But thankfully, and man, this is screwed up, Shigeru manipulates him by faking to empathize. Who the fuck's bipolar girlfriend is this? But sadly, Hakubu's help isn't enough. The only way for Fire and the others to get better is for him to go to Adamald. Adamald is an alternate world or universe created by King Oraden, where there's a miracle stone that can restore the Mashin sparkles. This is where I like this part. King Oraden is half dead. Like, Garza did kill him, but since then, 1, Emperor Yodam had his body encased in stone Star Wars style, and 2, Oraden's been transmigrating his thoughts into Judo this entire time, and his body into a different form, so that his consciousness will survive. Oh. This all built up from episode 28, and now we're on episode 29. So everyone bar Takemichi goes to Adamald, and Oraden gave Juru a key for when they get to Adamald. And once they get there, he figures out how to use it, and not only unlock the Miracle Stone, but Oraden himself, since the king transmigrated his presence into the stone and turned himself into a machine, which is fucking awesome. The king died and he came back as a Zord. And yeah, he also heals fire in the other machines. But yeah, let's talk about the fact that the king himself, he died and he came back as a Zord. That is awesome. And so let's talk about the final mech, which is the combination between Oradin and Hakobu, Grateful Phoenix. To which, cool. Just cool. Well, concept-wise, it's cool. The design itself is... it's both... Like I said, the only real mech I like in this show is Kirameiger. Like, all the other ones are... fine, I guess. Like, no real opinion, really, if I'm being honest here.